It was a story that gripped the world. In June 2023, a small submersible named Titan vanished deep in the North Atlantic while attempting a dive to the wreck of the Titanic. The dive should have been the adventure of a lifetime. Instead, it sparked a desperate, days-long search and a global media frenzy. OceanGate was founded in 2009 with a bold mission: to make deep-sea exploration accessible to adventurers. For a hefty fee of $250,000 per person, the company promised citizen scientists a chance to visit the Titanic's watery grave. Stockton Rush, OceanGate's CEO and co-founder, was a man with a vision and a taste for risk. He realized that nothing captured public imagination like the Titanic. "There's only one wreck that everyone knows: Titanic," Rush remarked in 2019. By launching dives to 12,500 feet below the ocean's surface, Rush aimed to pioneer a new era of extreme tourism.
Consumed by the Titanic, and it was just great to take them down. One woman, Renata Rojas, her entire life she has saved to do this, and she got to finally see it, and it was really an amazing thing for her and for us.
Passengers would spend 8 days at sea, descending in a custom-built submersible to witness the famed wreck up close. But OceanGate's approach to innovation was as unorthodox as the dream itself. Rush prided himself on being a maverick and disruptor. In fact, he often bragged about flouting industry norms. "If you're not breaking things, you're not innovating," he declared at a 2022 summit. Safety regulations, in his view, were often just obstacles to progress. He lamented that the commercial submersible industry was obscenely safe, with no injuries in decades, precisely because of strict rules, and he bemoaned that it hasn't innovated or grown because they have all these regulations. This philosophy set the tone at OceanGate. The company sought to do things differently, from its hiring of young, non-traditional tech staff to its use of off-the-shelf components. Rush once quipped that anyone could pilot Titan with minimal training. After all, the sub was steered with a modified video game controller.
Dive and view the wreckage on these monitors. To fly the vessel, the pilot uses a PlayStation controller.
OceanGate's project raised serious alarm long before Titan ever dove to Titanic.
4,000 meters deep, there are only 10 vehicles in the whole world that can go 4,000 meters or deeper, and all of them are certified, except the Titan.
As early as 2018, leaders in the deep-sea engineering community begged OceanGate to pump the brakes. The Marine Technology Society, composed of veteran ocean engineers and submersible operators, sent Stockton Rush a letter that year explicitly warning of possible catastrophic problems with Titan's design. They were concerned about OceanGate's experimental approach and the company's plan to operate without the usual independent safety certification. The letter urged OceanGate to at least get a recognized third party to review and certify the new submersible's hull before carrying passengers. One recommendation was to have DNVGL, the world's leading ship classification society, witness Titan's testing. OceanGate declined. In a blog post the following year, the company defended its decision not to certify Titan, arguing that traditional classification could stifle innovation and was no guarantee of safety. The vast majority of marine and aviation accidents are a result of operator error, not mechanical failure, OceanGate wrote, suggesting that its own rigorous approach to operation mattered more than any outsider's stamp of approval. It was an astonishing stance. Essentially, OceanGate insisted that they knew better than the collective wisdom of the submersible industry. Inside the company, too, there were stark warnings and dire consequences for those who voiced them. In 2018, OceanGate's director of marine operations, David Lockridge, grew alarmed by what he saw during Titan's development. Lockridge was an experienced submarine pilot and engineer hired to ensure the sub's safety. As Titan neared its first test dives, he inspected the craft and was shocked at the issues piling up. He documented numerous issues that posed serious safety concerns, including visible flaws in the carbon fiber hull, that could spread into larger tiers under the intense pressure cycling of deep dives. Lockridge was particularly worried that the Titan's hull, made of a novel carbon fiber and epoxy composite, hadn't been proven to withstand repeated dives to extreme depth. He knew that carbon fiber, while light and strong, can be fatally unpredictable under sustained pressure. He recommended thorough non-destructive testing of the hull before any manned dive, and urged the company to get Titan certified by a marine authority. The reaction: OceanGate's CEO and managers summarily fired Lockridge in early 2018, just days after he delivered his report. According to legal filings, he was escorted out of the building for refusing to greenlight Titan's launch without addressing the safety issues. OceanGate then sued him for allegedly breaching his confidentiality agreement, effectively gagging further dissent. It later came to light that Lockridge had even discovered Titan's forward viewport was only certified to 1,300 meters, far shallower than Titanic's depth of approximately 3,800, because OceanGate did not pay for a viewport rated to the full depth. Yet the company forged ahead regardless. Such stories spread quietly among deep-sea explorers. Renowned oceanographers, submersible designers, and even former OceanGate employees spoke in hushed tones about Titan's development. To them, the project was a tragedy waiting to happen. Everyone watched in disbelief. One veteran submersible operator described it as like watching a horror movie unfold in slow motion. Experts were screaming at the screen, but unable to change the ending. Many warned that Titan was too experimental, that it defied the basic engineering principles which had kept deep-sea exploration safe for decades. William Conan, chairman of a submersible industry group, later noted that Titan was an outlier, an uncertified prototype operating outside established safety guidelines. It had never been through the rigorous certification process that every other deep-diving sub of its class had passed. This culture of brushing off criticism extended from OceanGate's top executive to its shop floor. Former employees would later testify that raising safety concerns internally led to harassment or termination. Indeed, Titan's development was marred by signs of trouble. During early testing in 2018, a scale model of the hull was placed in a pressure chamber, and it imploded at a simulated depth well shy of the target. Instead of seeing this as a red flag, OceanGate hailed the test as a success and pressed on. Critical joints between the carbon hull and titanium ends were bonded with glue and bolts under custom procedures that had never been proven at these pressures. Any one of these factors was cause for concern. Together, they were a recipe for disaster. On the morning of June 18, 2023, despite all the prior warnings, Titan plunged beneath the waves once more, on what would be its final, fatal voyage. The submersible was launched from its support ship, the Polar Prince, about 370 miles off Newfoundland, Canada, at the Titanic site. Aboard were 5 people, Stockton Rush himself piloting, along with 2 paying mission specialists and 2 renowned guests. One was Paul-Henri Nargeolet, a 77-year-old French explorer who had visited the Titanic wreck dozens of times. Another was Hamish Harding, a 58-year-old British aviator and adventurer. Rounding out the crew were Shahzada Dawood, 48, a British-Pakistani businessman, and his 19-year-old son Suleiman. For the first hour or so, all seemed routine as Titan descended into darkness. The dive plan was to reach the wreck in about 2.5 hours, but around 1 hour 45 minutes into the dive, Titan's communications fell silent. The submersible missed its scheduled check-in, and no further status updates came through. On the mothership, an ominous truth set in. Titan was lost. A massive search and rescue operation was quickly mounted. U.S. and Canadian Coast Guard ships, military aircraft, deep-sea robots, and even private explorers rushed to the area in hopes of locating the missing sub. For 4 days, the world watched with bated breath. Experts knew the clock was ticking. Titan's oxygen supply, in the best case, would last only approximately 96 hours. The Titan had been destroyed in a violent implosion, likely on its descent, killing all 5 men instantly. In a 2025 report exceeding 300 pages, the Coast Guard concluded unequivocally, this marine casualty and the loss of 5 lives was preventable. There is hope that Titan's legacy will be a wake-up call for an industry operating in literal and legal gray zones. Right now, private submersibles in international waters fall into a patchwork of regulations, some of which OceanGate maneuvered around. Experts now advocate for clearer rules and perhaps mandatory certification of any vessel carrying passengers to extreme depths.